And for reaction to that interview and more on how geopolitics could factor into the speech tonight, we turn back to our political panel. Bloomberg Politics contributors Rick Davis and Jeannie Sheehan Zaino are still with us. So, Rick, we know that the president campaigned for election on the idea of America first, on an agenda that was supposed to be more focused on domestic issues than what's gone on internationally. The last few months have seemed to be the reverse of that. So how do you expect the president to message, if he decides to do it at all, his reasoning behind being more interventionist, whether it's in the Western Hemisphere and in places like Venezuela or in the Middle East?
Well, it's certainly well within, his capacity to articulate this Western Hemisphere strategy that the administration put out just a few months ago. And I think that's been relatively well received, both by the American people and by experts who believe that security in our own hemisphere is a tantamount in importance. That being said, it is a little interesting that the candidate, Donald Trump, who spent virtually his entire campaign talking about the evils of engagement, very reminiscent of our very first president 250 years ago, George. Anyway, so yes, we would thoroughly expect this to be a speech around how he can get out of the box on his America First agenda. The economy, tariffs, these are things that are polling the worst he's ever had in his political career, and he needs to resurrect that if he really wants to make a run for Republicans in the midterm elections.
Mm-hmm. Jeannie, there are a lot of things that Democrats would like to shine a light on this evening, including the Epstein scandal. We're going to see a room with Democratic lawmakers who in some cases have brought victims of Jeffrey Epstein to the House this evening. There have been several revelations over the past couple of weeks invoking names like Howard Lutnick and Donald Trump. I'm sure he's not going to talk about this, but when you consider the various Democratic responses, not just the official one from Abigail Spanberger, but the progressive response, the Spanish language response, how does the party try to break through the administration's messaging tonight?
You know, I think number one rule for Democrats tonight, and you hear this from Hakeem Jeffries, you hear it from Chuck Schumer, is do no harm. This administration's poll numbers are at January 6 lows. The president is frustrated by them, rightly so. They are underwater. The two top issues that got him elected, the most important being the economy and also immigration. So the worst thing Democrats could do is do anything to draw attention to themselves. So it's the old adage, do no harm. Beyond that, I think we're going to hear from Spanberger and the litany of Democrats beyond her who are going to be speaking about chaos and costs. And I think as it pertains to Jeffrey Epstein, we're going to hear a message, not necessarily about this story that won't die, but about promises the president made and didn't keep. He promised to release all the Epstein files. This is important to his base. He hasn't done that. And what you were just talking with to Rick about, this issue of interventionism, as Kayleigh was talking about it, he promised no endless wars, no intervening. He made the promise and he has broken it. So I think that's the context in which Democrats were gingerly approach that. But by and large, this has got to be from Democrats, do no harm, economy, cost of living, affordability.
Indeed, as Jeannie mentions, Hakeem Jeffries warning members against unforced errors at the State of the Union tonight. We'll find out in real time what everyone has in mind. With the help of our panel, they're going to be here too. Bloomberg Politics contributors Jeannie Sheehan Zaino and Rick Davis in for the long haul. So fasten your chin strap. What will the president say about AI tonight? Will he address the meeting today at the Pentagon with Anthropic? We're going to have a special conversation ahead with Gregory Allen at